Well, welcome to the 700 Club, and thanks for joining us. We turn to Ukraine, a maternity hospital shelled in a vicious attack. Russia's war on Ukraine is growing more and more brutal. Ukrainians in the city of Mariupol have been deprived of water, power for more than a week, and now children are dying from dehydration.
The capital city of Kyiv is facing a similar fate, and now fear is rising that Vladimir Putin is ready to use chemical and biological warfare. Heather Sells has the story.
A series of blasts hit the Mariupol hospital complex Wednesday, blowing out windows, leaving behind an enormous crater and killing 3. Including a child. A mother wailing as she clutched her little one, while paramedics evacuated the wounded. The World Health Organization says 18 medical facilities have been attacked since the Russian invasion began. The president of Ukraine posting video and calling it an atrocity. President Biden's press secretary condemned the attack.
As a mother, I know a number of you are mothers yourself. It is horrifying to see the type of the barbaric use of military force to go after innocent civilians in a sovereign country.
The Russians have blockaded Mariupol while continuing to shell it. Before and after satellite images show extensive damage. The people have been without water and power for more than a week, and authorities say one child has already died from dehydration. The capital of Kyiv faces a similar crisis.
With supplies being cut off, it will become somewhat desperate in, I would say, 10 days to 2 weeks.
They want us to feel like animals because they blocked our cities, the biggest cities in Ukraine, and they blocked and because they don't want our people to get some food, water.
On Wednesday, new ceasefires allowed thousands of civilians to escape some of the more heavily hit towns around Kyiv. Meanwhile, the U.S. has rejected Poland's surprise offer. It proposed Tuesday to transfer its MiG fighter jets to the U.S. to hand over to Ukraine.
We stress that we do not support the transfer of additional fighter aircraft to the Ukrainian Air Force at this time.
The U.S. hopes to avoid escalating the conflict. It's why President Biden has ruled out a no-fly zone over Ukraine, but President Zelensky warns doing so will cost Ukrainian lives.
Believe me, if it's prolonged this way, yes, you will see they will close the sky, but we'll lose millions of people.
Earlier this week, Russia accused Ukraine of running a U.S.-supported chemical and biological weapons lab. The U.S. denounced the claim and warned that Russia may be laying the groundwork to use such weapons against Ukraine. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Well, the incredible disinformation campaign coming out, the fog of war. Don't believe a word of this. Look at what the Russian army is actually doing. You can see with your own eyes in this video. How in the world could you ever shell a maternity hospital? What is the military advantage of that? What are you trying to prove other than you're depraved and you have no heart? Russia is never going to be back on the world stage after this. These things are truly unforgivable. In other news, Ukraine's civilian population is boldly standing up to the Russian army. Ephraim Graham has more on that story from the CBN Newsroom. Ephraim?
Gordon, young and old, women and men, the people of Ukraine are putting their lives on the line to defend their nation. As CBN senior international correspondent George Thomas shows us, even with a lack of military experience and training, they're taking up arms and preparing to fight.
24-year-old Taras Zarvansky has taken this weapons training class before, but isn't comfortable with the AK-47 just yet.
To be honest, the gun still feels a little heavy.
Zarvansky, whose background is in marketing, tells CBN News he decided to join Ukraine's Civil Defense Force after watching videos of Russian troops targeting innocent civilians.
I completely changed my attitude after they started bombing Kharkiv. Now I'm ready to kill them.
Wednesday, Zarvansky and 13 others, all from different walks of life, watched and listened as a Ukrainian army instructor showed them how to assemble and disassemble, charge and aim guns. 49-year-old Vadim builds homes for a living. Russian troops destroyed his home north of Kyiv last week during an attack on his city of Bucha.
I've been thinking about learning how to use a weapon since the war started in 2014, because our enemy is really insidious and Putin will not stop until we beat him.
Thousands of civilians like Vadim have been getting training on weapons and other military skills to defend their country against Russian invaders.
I made a decision for myself that it is necessary to teach as many people as possible. Not to kill, but how to survive in the best way possible in the fight.
Many women like Maria Opaka want to join the fight.
When you see all of this, you understand that we have to do everything now to protect ourselves and our territory as much as you can.
Meanwhile, many living abroad are coming back home.
The reports are that some 140,000 Ukrainians who used to live outside of the country have returned since Russia's invasion. And in fact, by the way, the Ukrainian embassy in Washington, D.C. is reporting that some 3,000 Americans have also signed up to fight the Russians.
Ukraine's government started a website last week encouraging foreign volunteers to join the so-called International Legion to fight Russian forces. President Zelensky claimed thousands of fighters from 52 countries were already on their way.
The first of 16,000 are coming to defend the liberty and life of us and of everyone. I'm sure it will be successful.
Among them, this foreign fighter named Static, who was filmed instructing volunteers on use of an RPG launcher.
You're fighting for democracy because democracy is precious and one man shouldn't decide that another country shouldn't have it.
Not to be outdone, Russia is also reportedly recruiting foreign fighters. According to the Wall Street Journal, Syrian mercenaries are being deployed to Ukraine, along with fighters from Chechnya. George Thomas, CBN News, Lviv, Ukraine.
The United Nations predicts more than 6 million refugees could flee Ukraine for neighboring nations. CBN's Operation Blessing is on hand to meet these desperate families and to give them the physical and spiritual comfort they need.
Many families are fleeing from Ukraine into Poland. Operation Blessing stands ready near the border to help bring aid and relief to those fleeing the war. These are some of their stories.
Меня зовут Надежда, это мои дети. Илья, ему 9 лет, и Марьяна, ей 5,5 лет. Мы из Украины, Западной Украины, город Луцк. Жили там, у нас все было, мы дом строили. Ну, взяли с собой какие-то деньги, взяли вещи, взяли, что... Потому что его не выпускают за границы. Мужчин от 18 до 60 лет не выпускают. Он провел нас, и мы с церкви, с группой людей приехали сюда.
My name is Hasmik, or Jasmine, from Kiev, Kiev district. And I never can imagine that in Ukraine can be war. And now, because of this Putin, we have this war, and we can't understand why.
Еще там 1,5 недели назад никто не думал, что вообще война будет. Мы до последнего не верили, что она будет. Но вот есть то, что есть. Надежда на Господа и на то, что Он убережет.
The bombings have affected these families in heartbreaking ways.
We have in front of our home apartment very big place, and they bombed this building. It's near of my home, and I saw this moment that we died. really. It was very...
It must have been so hard.
Yes.
Operation Blessing teams are on the ground in Poland, distributing critical supplies to these precious families.
Thank you very much for that we can visit to Poland and you help people.
Спасибо вам большое. Спасибо за помощь, за молитвы, за то, что принимаете. Это очень ценно и важно в такое время.
War is awful. I can say no war, only love. So thank you that you helped Ukrainian people, and not only Ukrainian, all citizens that nationalities that lives there. Thank you.
She said it so well. War is awful, but here's an opportunity for you to show love. Gordon?
And we are showing love, and we're doing it in your name. If you're a member of the 700 Club, you're part of that wonderful relief effort. Operation Blessing is staging on the border of Poland. We're obtaining warehouse facilities so that we can supply the food and water that these refugees need. You just saw that in action. But we have another thing going on, and that's with Orphans Promise. And you can see that map, all the various Orphan Promises outreaches throughout Ukraine, Romania, Moldova, Hungary, Croatia, Poland. You can be a part of helping people very tangibly right now in their hour of need. Once we have these warehouses up and running, we're going to be trying to resupply people back in Ukraine through those various centers. We want to help them in their time of need, and you can be a part of it. How? Give us a call, 1-800-700-7000. Just say, I want to support the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. You can write to us, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. Just put Disaster Relief Fund in the memo line of a check. You can text us, OB Crisis, to 71777. And you can also go online to cbn.com or to ob.org. And give and designate your gift into the OB Disaster Relief Fund. Either way, do it now. Let's be of help to people in their time of need. 1-800-700-7000.